Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Sleeping Beauty from Stamperia. This is a design project for Scrap and Create and you can get all your supplies there. I'll have a link down below. I will also have a link down below to the cutting guide for this project. So we have made 3 pocket pages and 2 signature sets. That's where we left off last time. So I'm going to set those aside for the moment. We're going to work on our hinge, and also I have already made my cover. You should make yours as well. The directions, or not the directions, but the measurements for the cover are in the cutting guide, and I have a video showing you how to put together a cover if you don't know how. So that's that. The hinge is also in the cutting guide with the scoring information. And I don't know how visible it is, but what we have is 1.5 inches and then a score, then a half inch, half inch, half inch, half inch. Oops, cat. Let me start again. 1.5, half inch, half, half. Oh, jeepers. Sorry, she jumped right onto the computer. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let me try for a third time. 1.5 inches, then a half inch, half inch, half inch, half inch, quarter inch, half, quarter inch, half. So what you have is a set of 4 spaces that are half inch apart, then 2 quarters, 4 halves, 2 quarters, 4 halves. But all these numbers are in the cutting guide for where you should score. Normally, when I do a hinge, when you make a hinge, let me just grab a scrap. Okay, you make the hinge, you'll fold 2 pieces together like this, and then you'll fold back, I'm doing this very roughly, and fold back, so that you end up with this fin, right? And usually in that fin, I will just put on one side a piece of 3/8 inch score tape, because it's a half inch space, so 3/8 fills it, it glues together. But in this case, I didn't, because I'm out of 3/8 inch, it's not coming for 2 days, and I'm not waiting. So what I did is I put a 1/4 inch on one side of where they're going to stick together, down sort of in where it's going to be close to the point here, and then on one side, and then on the other side I put a piece that was going to be more close to the bottom, so that together, when they go together, the whole area will be covered, if that makes sense. So what you can do, let me get a pointing tool. So you're going to have, sorry, my cat is about to get into trouble. Sorry, she has been a fuss budget all day. Okay. So you're going to have that 1.5 inch space. Okay, that's the part that's going to glue into the book. This part is also going to glue into the book. That's the first half inch space. That's just to help you guide putting it in the book. Okay, then you're going to have these 2 half inch spaces. If you have 3/8 inch tape, just put 3/8 inch tape in one of those 2. Okay, it doesn't matter which one. Then you have a half inch space. Also, if you don't have half inch, do what I did and put a 1/4 inch. Okay, then on both of them. Then you'll have a space. You'll have the 2 1/4 inches. You're not going to put anything in those. Then you're going to have another half inch. You're not going to put anything in those. And then you've got the next 2 halves. Put a 3/4 inch piece in one side, one of those, or 1/4 inch in both. I hope this makes sense. It should make more sense when we put it together. Then you're going to have a half inch space, 1/4 inch, half inch space. Tape the next 2 together, and then a half inch space. Okay? Hope that made sense. Then on the other side, just turn it over, you're going to have 1.5, a half inch space. Then you're going to put tape here where both of them are close together to that middle line. Then another half inch space, quarter, half, again, 1/4 inch tape close to the middle line, half inch, quarter, half inch, and again, 1/4 inch close to the middle line, half inch, 1.5 inches. This should make more sense when we put it together. So these pieces on this side are to hold your pages in. Eventually the 1/4 inch we're sewing in, so you don't need tape. All right, so we're going to turn it back over. And let me fold it. So what we're going to do is fold so that on this side, these 2 pieces are here, and on this side, either your 1 piece of tape or your 2 are going to stick together. And you could use glue too. The only reason I'm not using glue is it takes a little time to dry, and it makes it harder for me to demonstrate when I'm using glue, but you could certainly just glue these together. Okay, and then you're going to fold back. And fold up like that, and so you have a fin sticking up, okay? Just like that. Then what you can do with the, so you're going to, it's hard to describe here, between the 2 1/4 inch spaces, you can fold those, even though they don't have tape. You can go ahead and do the folding right now while it's flat. It might be easier. And then fold back. Just treat it as though it were glued. I'm sorry. I don't even know what's going on in my house right now. You would think I had a St. Bernard. Okay, so now we have this one, which is not glued together, just this little 1/4 inch one. Okay. It's Friday night. You would think they know. They're all excited because I don't have to work tomorrow. I think it's going to be raining all weekend here. I have to go to the post office in the morning because I'm sending a book to one of you. And then that's it. I don't think I'm going to do anything else for the rest of the weekend except this. Okay. So now we have, getting an idea, we have a fin. We have a little narrow fin that's not glued, and another fin. Okay. When I made the prototype, I didn't pre-fold these little 1/4 inch ones, and it made it a little trickier. Another 1/4 inch. And this looks very wide because those 1/4 inch ones are not glued together, so they're kind of spread, but it will be fine. Okay, so there is that. Then the next step, before we put it in the book, is going to be to sew the signature pages that we made onto those 2 hinges. So we have, this is going to be the front one, and then this is going to be the back one. Let me set these aside. And I've got to get a new bag for this thing. This is my little kit that I have for sewing books, and it's from Amazon. It was like $20, and it comes with tons of stuff, everything you need, and then some. There's scissors in here, there's rulers, there's your awl, needles, threads. There's the scissors. I've never even taken them out of the package. think this is for glue. I've never used that either. And I think I want to use that color, maybe. Let me see. I think that's a little yellow. I think that's a little light. This is a little... actually, this is very good. It looks dark on the roll, but when you pull it out, it's good. Okay. So I've got my all that I need are the needles, the awl, the clips, the wax, the red. I think that should do. Okay. And I have got, what did I do with it? I might have put it down here, or is it in one of these? Hang on. I'm looking for, I made a template when I did the test book. Oh my goodness. And I know I saved it so that I would have it, but I don't see it now. Of course, who knows, the cat might have eaten it. Hang on, I have found it. Okay, so in order to make this template, you would like to look. Hang on. Ugh. Okay, so just take a piece of paper. Can be the same stuff that you tea dyed or coffee dyed or whatever, or just whatever. It should be 8 inches tall by 12 inches wide. So yeah, you're gonna need something. Well, it could be narrower. It doesn't have to be the full 12. If you only have 8.5 by 11 folded in half, that'll work. But it needs to be 8 inches tall. Okay. Then you want to make a mark along the fold at 3/4 of an inch from the top, 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom, and 4 inches, which is the center. So make a pencil mark. Then fold it so the pencil mark's on the inside. Okay? So pencil mark, pencil mark, pencil mark. All right, and let's set aside this one. We'll start with this one. Hang on. All right. And you want to be really careful to make sure that these are the way you want them. Everything's lined up. They don't have to be perfect. It's a handmade book, but get them as perfect as you want them. Then you're going to take your clips and we're going to move these clips in a minute. But, whoops, I just knocked something off my desk and I don't know what it was. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to move these in a minute, but we're just going to do this for now. So you have 4 clips that came in your kit if you have the kit. If you don't, just buy yourself some binder clips. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at the office supply store, wherever you want to get them. Remove that. Okay. And what we want to do is put this template inside, line it up with all the rest of the pages, and then I like to just move one clip at a time to grab that section as well. Just add that into the book. Well, it would help if I hadn't grabbed both sides. All right, hang on. It doesn't matter that it's sticking out here. You just want to make sure that it is even top to bottom. Just like that. Okay, so now we have our template for where we're going to poke our holes to sew. Move this out of the way. Take your awl. Now there's a couple of different kinds of awls. This is the one that came with the kit, and I like it for this because it's a very straight awl. I have another awl that I use in embroidery, and it is much more tapered. It's pretty wide at this end and narrow at this end. It's for making eyelets. That'll work fine if you've got one, but I do like this straight one. Okay, so you are going to need, hang on. Need a scrap of chipboard or an old book that you don't mind wrecking or something soft. You want to hold this up like this so that you don't want to lay it flat. Hold it up pretty much. And then you're going to poke a hole through the mark. And I need to lift it up a little so I can see, make sure I'm on the mark. Okay, and then just poke straight down. It should go through the spine. And then you can push it further through. Push it fairly far through. You're going to have to get a needle and some pretty thick thread through this. So, okay, there's one. And we're going to do this one. Okay. And then once we're here, push it through. Push through. Just like that. Okay. And then do the same thing in reverse. Just take one clip off at a time and remove the template. Clip it back, because you don't want this to have a chance to shift on you. Okay, there we go. Now, here it is. You want to take your hinge that you just made, lay it down, and you're going to take this template and lay it down. Now, the template is about 1/8 of an inch bigger than the actual hinge, so you can see I've got a little bit hanging up top and bottom. Just center that as best you can and make a mark where each of the holes are on your template, and do that for both of these spots. This is the little 1/4 inch fin, and you're on the inside. Wow, it is just coming down buckets right now. There. Okay. And then set this aside. You're going to need it again when we do the next one. Over there. Okay. Now, let's take our cardboard or chipboard or whatever. Take your awl, and you're going to poke a hole in each of these spots that you just marked. Okay, and then once you've done that, you can pick it up and make those holes bigger. Now, another option for this, and I've not done it, so I'm not going to speak as an expert on it, but if you're familiar with how to string a traveler's notebook, you could do this that way. instead of sewing it, you could just put your traveler's notebook elastics in there and then glue it shut. But we are not doing that, because I just don't see taking this book apart at any point, which is what a traveler's notebook basically does. Okay, so now we need 3 lengths of your hinge. This is waxed thread, waxed linen thread for putting, it's specifically for sewing books. But I have done this with baker's twine, I've done it with quilting thread, just any good strong thread, if you don't want to buy the little kit that this comes in. All right, and then grab one of your needles. Go. And then grab your book, okay? You're going to take your needle through from the inside, the first hole, which is the bottom hole, pull it through, and leave yourself a tail. Then you're going to go to this left hand little short hinge and take the needle through there. Okay. And you're going to want to bring this up pretty close, but you can tighten it after. So for now, I'll leave it a little loose so you can see. All right, I'll turn it just to make it easier. Then I'm going to, so now here's my thread. I'm going to go up through the middle. And then we are going to go through the middle hole in the book, which I can not even see because I am blind. There we go. Okay. All right. And then you do want to pull this pretty tight. I feel like I might want to put too much of a tail, I think. This all needs to be extremely snug. Okay, there we go. Now we want to come up here to the next hole, the one we haven't used yet, and you always want to keep the book sort of semi-closed when you're doing this. Make it much easier to go in and out of the various holes that you've made. Okay, pull that, and you can see it's too loose right now, but we'll tighten it up. And then you're going to go through the matching hole here. And at this point, you really do want to make sure things are a little snug. Okay. That's good. Now, you want to go back here. Now you're on the other side of the hinge, and you want to go to this middle hole again. And try not to pierce the thread that's already there, or it will be difficult for you to tighten things up. Oh, I tore my book a little bit, but that's okay. I can add some glue there. You gotta be careful when you're tightening things that you don't do what I just did. Okay. Okay, now we don't need the needle right now. So now we want to pull everything tight, trying not to tear the book like I did, and then tie a knot. If you have somebody to help you at this point, it might be good. Okay. good. And I think because we're going to glue the, it looks a little loose actually. I'm going to tighten that some more. Because we're going to glue that section shut, that'll help a little bit too. But I feel like it's not quite tight enough. Okay, hang on. See if I can tighten that up. Just using the awl to unknot it. Okay, there we go. So, you really want to take your time with this and make sure that it is the way it is, because it's all going to be glued and inaccessible later. Better. Okay. It's still a little loose, but it's not bad. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So there's the first one. Okay. And now we need to do the second one. And here's that one. So we're going to do the same thing. Find the center. The center? I think it's not. No. It's the center. Okay. And add your template. Good. Okay. Add your clips. See what I do with the little scrap. Here it is. And then we're going to poke the holes. Just going to put the shield on the awl. Awls are very, very sharp, so be safe with that. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. Be careful at this point. You want to make sure you sew this in right side up. And we want to remove the template. You also don't want to sew the template into the book. I have done that. I think I did that on one of the journal books recently. And save this template for use in another book if you think you're going to make another one. I have a second one, the one that I made as a prototype, which I also want to finish. I'll show that to you at some point. Okay, there we go. Set that aside. And this is going to go like this. This is right side up. Okay, so I want to go down through this hole and leave myself a tail. And go down this hole. There. It's all quite floppy at this point, which makes it a little awkward, but you can do it. It's not hard. It's just awkward. Okay, and then I'm going to go through this hole here, the middle one. Okay, and then we're going to go through the middle hole in the book. The signature, I should say. Then we're going to go out this. Is that right? Hang on. Just had a. Yes, that's right. Okay. Just had a moment of doubt. Okay, out that hole and out that one right there. Pull everything tight. Okay. Make that hole a little big in the middle, but it's okay. Turn around. And then we're going to go back through that hole there. And up through this one, trying not to pierce the thread. The reason we don't want to pierce the thread is it makes it harder to tighten everything. Okay. And let's see. This end looks a little loose. And looks nice and tight. And then we are going to tie. Okay. That looks good. And it looks very floppy right now. Take these off. There. All right. Now, before we can sew this, or not sew it, but glue it into, okay, it looks a little high, but that's okay. Before we can glue this in, we now need to glue these fins shut. Okay, and to do that, it's a little tricky, is we need to use actual glue. I'll stand it up so you can see, okay? And we're going to glue like that. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to, hang on a second. Now the hard part with this is, you know, I've got some little narrow clips, and they work at the ends, but they don't work in the middle. So what you can do is, if you have 1/8 inch score tape, you could use that. I don't have it because it annoys me. It always seems to unspool. But what I might do is just put a few pieces of shorter tape that I'll just cut in half. So I'm just going to put those, I gotta turn it so I can see it, sorry. I'll show it to you in a second. So if you can see, I just put a couple little pieces right there. These are not going to be the permanent thing that's holding this together, but they will act as sort of a temporary clamp. And then I'm going to do the same here. You know, they'll hold it while the glue's setting. The glue is actually going to be what holds it together. It's kind of like when you're working with wood, a lot of times wood glue is what's holding it together, and the nails are only temporary. There and one there. Okay. So then I'm using art glitter glue. Take the back off. Whoa, just brought the paper up instead of the tape. Let's try that again. Okay, that is not wanting to come up. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to put glue. Try to avoid the actual holes that you made when you were sewing so that no glue seeps up to the top. Okay, that's not wanting to come out. Let me just get it started over there. Okay. There we go. And then it's a little tricky. It helps, I think, if you stand it up. And you just want to fold that together. And I'm going to put, it's looking a little loose to me, but I think it'll be all right. Okay, I'm just going to put a paper clip there. And a paper clip down here. Okay. And again, this is the fussiest bit, is getting this stuff glued closed. Okay, it's looking good. Okay, that looks good. I think I'm going to put more tape on this other one. I think I could have used a little more tape than what I used. If you just have 1/8 inch, just run a full length of it. because on this one I'm not going to have any paper clips. Those are the only two I had. On the prototype, I did not use any tape. I have no idea how I got that thing together because that's a pain. I think, now that I'm looking back, I think I sewed the pages on before I folded the big fins. So you could try it that way as well. Okay. We are just going to burnish those little pieces of tape. Okay. And if you feel like you only want to use tape, you can. I just feel like with the extra bulk of the thread in there that I wanted glue. Okay. Then we're going to push that together. Lift that up. Let's see if we can get that one together. Okay. Thanks. That is definitely tricky. Okay. All right, I think that is pretty good. So I am just going to leave this now. I've got this one's got a clip on it, but I think it's probably held. So I'm going to move the clip to this one. And I think I'll do the same with this bottom clip. Together. And these actually are going to go like that. Okay, I am going to let all of that dry. I realize that was all kind of tricky, but you can do it. It's just it's fussy. It's not hard. So, and if you have more little narrow clips than I do, that will be helpful. If I can find some on Amazon, I'll link them. Let me throw this away. If you've got those tiny Tim Holtz paper clips, those would probably work. I had some, but I don't know where they are, if I can find them. But in any event, okay, so I'm going to let all of this dry. How long have I been recording? So not too bad. And then in the morning, it's 9:30 now. I'll be back in a few seconds. It'll be morning. We will put this into the book and add the other 3 pages. Okay, so I'll see you in a second. I am back. That is actually dry. It is the next day, as I said. But if you have a few minutes, you might want to do this step before you stop for a break, because this also is going to need to dry. So here's our cover, and we are going to wrap our spine with this piece of rice paper. And what I am going to do, let me lift up the spine, is I want to wrap it so most of Upon a Time and Sleeping Beauty are on the spine. So we'll have less wrap to the back and more wrap to the front, but that doesn't matter because of the way we're going to do the design. But we need enough of this to wrap, so we're going to have to put the words Sleeping Beauty quite close to the bottom of the cover. Okay, so you'll see as we go. And I'm just going to use the plastic that the rice paper came in for my glue. I don't know why I shook it. You don't have to shake it. This is Stamperia Velo glue, but it's basically just matte Mod Podge, so you can use that if that's what you've got. Yep. There we go. And I'm at the point now where if I can get my hands on a rice paper to go with the collection, I am going to wrap the spine with it, even if it gets mostly covered, because I like the continuous look a lot. So I'm just going to paint glue onto this spine. And by doing it this way, I think it'll be easier to get the paper exactly where we want it, rather than putting the glue directly onto the paper. And you can always lift up and add more glue if you need to, but just try to cover the whole spine. There we go. So then I'm going to take and place this, just kind of eyeballing it. You can lift it up a little bit when you first put it down. And let's see, how does that look? I think that looks good. Okay, and then I'm just going to press it down. And I do have the seam from when I made my cover right along the spine, so it is making a little divot there. You can try to hide your spine more, your seam more to the back if you like. You probably already have made your cover, so. But okay. And then from there, it's just a matter of bringing the rest around. Now I don't want to do this flat, because I want to glue it in the curved position where how it's gonna go. And you can put glue right on the paper. Hopefully you can see. Okay, and then I'm just gonna lift it up like that. Okay, and that's not fully. I'll still need to add some more, but that'll get us going. I'm going to move my glue over to this side. And I'm putting this on at this point because I want to be able to wrap it over before I attach the hinge. And I don't, like the last book we did, I had to put the mats of the cover first because I wanted this rice paper resting on top of those mats. But in this case, they're going to be under the mats, so I'm putting them this way. And I'm just making sure I've got plenty of glue up under there. Okay. And if you want, because well, no, leave it as is. I was going to say you could trim some of this rice paper and use it for other things, but I actually have a plan where I think you're going to need pretty much all of it that's showing. If you want yours to look like mine. That is. Okay. There we go. And then we still have some to do here. Okay. Now I need to wrap this over here like this. Okay. And for that, I think I will put the glue, or at least some of the glue, on the actual paper. Hopefully you can see. I don't have a lot of room to play with here. I don't want to get my cover in the glue, because that's exactly the kind of thing I would do. And you can use a bigger brush for this. This is just the brush I have, the biggest one I have, so that's what I use. And then you want to make sure that you've got plenty of glue right along this edge so that it sits tight and stays down. Okay. I'm just going to peel those back away. And most of this is going to be covered by the inside decorations, but okay. And you notice I kind of lifted and tugged because we want to make sure it's snug against there. Okay. And then we're just going to hit it up with some more glue here. Make sure it's well adhered. Okay, now let's do the other end. And you can, oops, this is longer than it needs to be, so I think I will trim a little of that length off. Save that piece. We might find a use for it. I always feel like I'm using so much adhesive because I'm constantly tipping more out, but that bottle is still pretty full. And it is, I think it's about the same size as a Mod Podge bottle, so I've got one over there. I should just use Mod Podge sometime because it's easier for you guys to get. The only thing I would say is use, and you could use a matte medium as well. The only thing, like I was starting to say, is I would use whatever you use. It should be matte. You don't want your cover shiny, I don't think. If you want your cover shiny, then by all means use shiny, but I prefer it to be matte. again, I'm just going to give it, be careful when you're tugging it because it's wet, but I am going to give it a little bit of a tug to make sure that it's snug against the top of the spine there. Okay. And these are just baby wipes that I'm using, if I haven't mentioned that in a while, and they're a CVS brand. I have always had good luck with those. They never leave any kind of little fibers or anything on my work. I've heard good things about the Costco ones, but I don't have a Costco anywhere near me, so. Go. Good. Okay. Now, I am going to, and actually I could probably do some of it now. I just have to hold it, I think. I do want to put some on the outside of the spine as well. This is optional. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It does add, even though it's a matte adhesive, it does add a little shine, and that's why sometimes I don't do it. But I know that a lot of this is, I don't know about on the spine, but I know on the covers it's going to be, a lot of it's going to be covered up anyway. So. No, it's quite shiny now because it's wet. It won't be that shiny in the end. And actually, you can even put it directly on the book for this stage. Just fell. What was that? Oh, it's a piece of paper. Or plastic, rather. Sometimes the air conditioning comes on and blows everything around. And it is so humid today. I went outside and I was like breathing a wet rag. It says it's 91. Humidity is 91%. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually higher. So in this case, and that looks great, I love that. I was going to say it's not really a decorative element, the rice paper, although on the spine it obviously is. But it's going to be covered quite a bit on the front and on the back. But it adds a polish to your book by having it fully wrapped around the spine. That is just beautiful. And I'm just giving that a little... And the bottom is actually already pretty dry, so I'm just going to put that up there to dry. I'm going to go out with my sister, and I will be back, and this will be dry, and we'll put in our hinge and our pages, and then that'll be that for today. So I'll be back later. I am back. Had a nice morning out with my sister, and now let's keep going. All right, so here's our assembly that we made earlier. And what I have done is just added tape to the back, and you'll notice I did not put tape in the seams. Now this seam here is a little open, but it's not going to make any difference. Now what I want you to do here is measure from the edge of your chipboard on the back 1.5 inches and draw a line. Okay, so that's where we're at. And what we're going to do is line up this side of the hinge with that line, And that should center everything appropriately on the spine. And I'm just double checking. It's a little hard to tell, but that looks pretty good. I might want to shove it over just a hair. Okay. So I'm just making sure everything is appropriate. And I am going to just peel back, because I used a fat piece of tape. I'm just going to peel it back part way. And then line it up, and I want it centered top to bottom. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit off, but you want it pretty close. Just double checking. Still looking pretty good. Okay. Remove these. And doesn't want to come off. What I did here, because I was out of my 3/8 inch tape, is I just cut a fat piece down to 3/8 inch strips. Now, you don't want to stretch this, but you do want to make sure that it's going down flat. So I did tug on it a little bit. Okay. There. That is good. Okay. Now, we have the rest of our pages. That is the third one, that is the second one, and this is the first one. And get these out of the way. Oops. Well, come here. All right. Start here at the back. I kind of feel like that could have been sewn in a little tighter, but it is what it is. Just going to pull that back a little bit. The third page, make sure that it is right side up. I feel like I originally intended this to go this way. Yes, this way. Okay. And you're going to put these down. Just want to make sure I'm in the right one. Definitely not all the way to the bottom. I'm leaving them up a little higher than a 1/16, but not quite an 1/8, I think. Don't measure it, just eyeball it. Okay, here is that, and that, and then this one, yeah, see how it's lifting up a little? It could have been tighter, but it's fine. And this one is going on this way. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's my cat playing with the blinds. Actually, I don't think she's playing with the blinds. I think she's lying in the blinds and she's having a bath, so it's making them rattle. Okay. really liking the way this is coming out. Okay, we have that, and then this is this page here. Okay. That. Did I take the back one off of here? I did. Sometimes I forget, and somebody reminded me because they noticed I forgot in my last album. But I usually catch it on the when I'm editing the video. You know what? I didn't bend this cover up after I put the hinge in and before I put the pages on, but that's fine. Crunchy from the glue on the outside. That is good. Now you see how the pages line up pretty well? Not perfect, but pretty well. Okay, that is great. Okay, I think that's a good stopping point. So I'm going to stop here, and next time we will continue with decorating. We still have a bit to do. We have covers, we have the inside, front and back cover, and some pages that need some embellishment. And that's it. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Don't forget to visit Scrap and Crate to get your supplies. There's a link down below. Don't forget to click the link down below to get the cutting guide for this project. And I have a discount code for this beautiful glass mat if you are in the market for one from Glassboard Studios. And links to a bunch of the products that I use on Amazon, including the bookbinding kit that I use. So thanks very much, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.